Imagine yourself settling into a quiet space, a place where the light is soft, the air is still, and nothing asks anything of you. Tonight, we drift back slowly, calmly into the world of the Ottoman Empire. Not the empire of only battles or borders, but the quieter world beneath those grand stories. The ordinary lives, the steady routines, the soft footsteps in tiled courtyards, and the hum of markets filled with the scent of roasted coffee beans and damp earth after dawn. The Ottomans shaped a vast territory, touching Europe, Asia, and Africa. And yet, day by day, the rhythm of life was carried by craftsmen at their stalls, scholars bent over manuscripts, and families sharing their evening meal beneath lantern light. As you listen, allow the past to settle around you like a warm, woven fabric full of texture, full of gentle detail. This journey will move slowly, carefully, through 4 parts. We begin with daily life, your life, as a craftsman in a crowded Ottoman market. Then, we drift upward into the world of Suleiman the Magnificent, a ruler whose legacy was built through order, restraint, and a deliberate sense of balance. After that, we step beneath the surface of Istanbul, into the cool mysteries of hidden cisterns and buried mosaics. And finally, we conclude in the serene and carefully structured world of Topkapi Palace, a place of gardens, rituals, and quiet authority. For now, let the pace slow. Let your breathing match the gentle rhythm of history. And imagine yourself walking into a new morning in an old world. Let's begin in the heart of it all, the marketplace. The air is thick with the scent of spices, cardamom, cumin, and dried mint, mingling with the aroma of freshly baked simit bread from a nearby vendor. You are a calligrapher, and your small stall is nestled in a narrow, shaded alley. Light filters through the canvas awnings above, painting shifting patterns on the cobblestones. Your fingers are stained with ink, your tools laid out in perfect order, reeds cut to a sharp, precise angle, pots of black and gold ink, and smooth, polished paper. The sounds of the city form a constant, gentle symphony around you. There's the rhythmic clanging of a coppersmith's hammer from a few doors down, the murmur of merchants haggling over silks from Damascus, and the distant call to prayer echoing from a magnificent mosque. Your work is slow, deliberate. Each stroke of the reed is a breath, a meditation. You are not just writing words. You are giving them shape, beauty, and soul. A customer, a wealthy merchant, has commissioned a verse from the Quran to adorn his new home. As you dip your reed into the ink, the world outside your stall fades away. There is only the paper, the ink, and the sacred geometry of the letters forming under your steady hand. This is your life, a quiet contribution to a city teeming with art, faith, and commerce. From the quiet dignity of the marketplace, our focus now rises to the highest seat of power. We enter the world of Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent. But we will not find him on the battlefield. Instead, we see him in his private chambers, surrounded not by generals, but by poets, architects, and jurists. His reign was one of immense expansion, but its true strength lay in order and justice. Imagine him as a man driven by balance. He was a conqueror who wrote poetry under the pen name Muhibi, meaning lover or friend. He oversaw the creation of a legal code so comprehensive it would shape the empire for centuries. His vision wasn't just about territory. It was about creating a perfectly functioning, harmonious society. He commissioned the great architect Mimar Sinan to build mosques and bridges that were masterpieces of engineering and aesthetic grace, structures that balanced immense scale with delicate beauty. Suleiman understood that true power was not just in might, but in the creation of a lasting, just, and beautiful civilization. His legacy is not only in the lands he ruled, but in the laws he codified, the art he sponsored, and the enduring sense of order he instilled into the very fabric of the Ottoman world. Now, we leave the light of the sun-drenched palaces and bustling markets behind. We descend. Beneath the vibrant streets of Istanbul lies a hidden, silent world, a network of ancient cisterns. Imagine stepping down stone stairs, the air growing cool and damp around you. You enter a vast subterranean hall. Hundreds of marble columns, reclaimed from ancient temples, rise from the dark, still water, their reflections stretching into the gloom. The only sound is the slow, rhythmic drip of water echoing through the cavernous space. This is the Basilica Cistern, a breathtaking underground cathedral built to store water for the great city above. Light from openings in the ceiling pierces the darkness in shafts, illuminating floating dust motes and the intricate carvings on the column bases. In the far corner, you find two massive column bases carved into the likeness of Medusa's head, one sideways, one upside down, mysteries from a forgotten, pre-Ottoman age absorbed into the city's foundation. This silent underground world is a reminder that Istanbul is a city built on layers of history. Below the noise and energy of daily life, the past waits, preserved in the cool, dark, and quiet depths. It's a place of mystery and profound stillness, a secret heart beating slowly beneath the city. Our journey concludes within the walls of Topkapi Palace, but not in the grand halls of state. We find ourselves in the quiet seclusion of its inner courtyards and gardens. This was not just a home for sultans. It was a self-contained world, governed by strict protocol and serene order. Picture yourself walking through the court of the eunuchs, a tranquil space paved with pebbles, where the silence is broken only by the chirping of birds from the lush gardens beyond. You move into the third courtyard, the private heart of the palace. Here, surrounded by elegant pavilions and libraries, the sultan lived and worked. The air is scented with roses, tulips, and hyacinths, meticulously planted in geometric patterns. Fountains murmur softly, their waters cooling the air. Every doorway, every window, every tiled panel was designed to create a sense of harmony, contemplation, and controlled power. This was a place where statecraft was conducted not with shouts, but with whispers. Where authority was expressed not through ostentatious display, but through refined taste and flawless ritual. Life in Topkapi was a carefully choreographed dance of power and piety, lived out amidst some of the most beautiful art and architecture in the world. It was a golden cage, a paradise on earth, and the silent, beating heart of a vast empire. Let's continue. But if you enjoyed this quiet exploration of history, please consider liking and subscribing for more. Imagine it's early morning. The sun hasn't yet fully climbed over the rooftops, and the air carries a faint chill. You step into your market street, where you have worked for many years. The cobblestones beneath your shoes are familiar, slightly uneven, warmed by countless footsteps before yours. You are a craftsman, perhaps a woodworker, a maker of copper bowls, or a weaver whose hands know the language of thread better than words. In the Ottoman world, these roles weren't just jobs. They were identities, woven into the fabric of a guild, a community of shared knowledge and shared expectations. Before you open your stall, you take a moment to breathe in the market's familiar scents. A mixture of sawdust from carpenters shaving planks, the tang of metal being hammered, and shaped the sweetness of figs arranged by a fruit seller nearby. The market is waking up slowly. A shopkeeper sweeps his storefront, each stroke of the broom measured and unhurried. A baker's oven releases a warm fragrance that blends with the cool morning air, the smell of dough rising, crisping, browning. You hear a distant call to prayer echo gently between the buildings, softened by the fabric awnings hanging above the stalls. It doesn't demand your attention. It simply folds into the rhythm of your morning. You lift the wooden shutter of your stall, its hinges creaking softly. Inside, your tools wait where you left them. The worn handle of your chisel, polished smooth from years of use. The mallet with slight dents along its head. The cloth roll of smaller instruments awls and measuring sticks. There is comfort in their familiarity. Each one represents not only your craft, but also the slow passage of time, marked by the things you've made and the hands that have received them. The guild you belong to shapes your daily life in subtle but steady ways. It sets prices, teaches apprentices, settles disputes, and ensures that the market standards remain trustworthy. There is order here, not rigid but comforting. You know where you stand, and you know what is expected of you. The routines are clear, almost meditative. As the sun climbs higher, the market grows fuller. The soft shuffle of sandals on stone blends into a muted murmur. You hear gentle greetings exchanged, always polite, always steady. The Ottomans valued these small gestures, respect expressed in tone, posture, and careful choice of words. Even the way you hand an object to a customer carries meaning, offered with both hands when possible, signaling honesty and respect. Today, you work on a commission. Perhaps it is a carved wooden panel for a merchant's home, or a set of copper cups ordered for a wedding celebration. As you begin shaping the material, the world narrows to sound and touch. The rhythmic tap of your mallet. The soft scrape of metal against wood. The whisper of shavings as they fall to the ground. These sounds aren't intrusive. They are steady, predictable, almost soothing. The market around you continues its gentle hum. A coffee seller pours dark, thick coffee into small cups, the aroma lingering in the air. Coffee houses have become gathering places in the city places where men sit for hours discussing poetry, politics, and the day's small events. But for now, you stay at your stall, working slowly, allowing the day to unfold at its own pace. A group of travelers passes through, their clothing showing hints of distant lands, Persian patterns, Balkan boots, Arab turbans. The empire is vast, and its markets are crossroads of people and stories. Yet, despite the diversity, there is a sense of quiet cohesion. Everyone moves through the space with a kind of comfortable acceptance, guided by shared customs and unspoken understandings. As the afternoon light softens, you take a brief rest. You sit on a low stool, sipping water from a clay cup. The marketplace has settled into its middle rhythm, now less bustling than the morning, not yet ready to wind down. You watch the slow flow of people passing by, each absorbed in their own tasks. None of them move quickly. Life here values patience more than speed. Children wander through the lanes, running small errands, delivering messages, or buying a handful of nuts from a vendor. You remember your own apprenticeship, beginning when you were not much older than they are. Long days, quiet instruction, observing more than speaking. In the Ottoman world, skill grew from repetition. From doing the same task hundreds of times until your hands understood what your mind once had to direct. As the sun begins to dip, casting elongated shadows across the market, you finish the last strokes of your work for the day. You wipe your tools clean, wrap them in cloth, and close your stall with the same gentle motion as every evening. Around you, merchants pack up their goods, their conversations drifting into calm, end-of-day tones. The air cools again. Lamps flicker to life, casting warm pools of light along the stone street. The day has been ordinary, like countless days before it. Yet within its small rituals, opening the stall, greeting customers, working steadily at your bench, there is a quiet stability. A rhythm that has shaped generations before you, and will continue long after you are gone. You walk home through narrow streets, past modest houses with wooden balconies and quiet courtyards. The scent of evening cooking lentils, bread, and grilled vegetables darkens the air. You feel tired but not hurried, not anxious. The day has been enough. And as you close the door behind you, you hear the market settling into silence, preparing itself to begin again tomorrow. Thank you for joining us on this journey back in time. If you enjoyed this glimpse into the past, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more immersive stories. Moving on to the next chapter. Imagine the quiet marketplace fading gently from view. The scent of wood shavings, roasted coffee, and sun-warmed stone dissolves, and in its place, a different atmosphere settles. A world of polished halls, measured footsteps, and a ruler whose life unfolded in slow, deliberate layers. You are entering the life of Suleiman the Magnificent, not the distant, towering figure of textbooks, but the quieter human presence behind the title. His world was not only made of conquests and decrees, but of routines, habits, relationships, and a deep dedication to structure. Let the pace slow. Let the tone become steady, calm, almost ceremonial. Suleiman was born in 1494 in the town of Trabzon, along the Black Sea coast. The air there was cool and often misty, carrying the scent of salt and pine. As a child, he grew up in a household that was disciplined yet gently nurturing. His father, Selim I, would one day seize the throne with startling speed. But in Suleiman's early years, the palace around him was a steady place of tutors, gardens, and the soft rustle of manuscripts. His education was broad, as expected of an Ottoman prince. He learned languages Ottoman Turkish, Arabic, Persian, slowly mastering each with a patient, practiced rhythm. He studied the Quran, law, mathematics, calligraphy, and the poetry that would one day become a quiet refuge for him. From an early age, his life followed the gentle, predictable patterns of palace instruction. Each day held a rhythm, neither rushed nor idle. He spent much of his youth in Manisa, a lush provincial city known for its vineyards and winding hills. There, he served as governor in training, surrounded by advisors who taught him how to observe before acting. The city moved at a slower pace than Istanbul, and Suleiman often walked its gardens, reflecting on the calm movement of daily life, market traders arranging fruit, artisans repairing tools, scholars discussing scripture beneath the shade of cypress trees. Even as a young man, he valued quiet order. He disliked displays of unnecessary cruelty, preferring written commands, clear rules, and an organized administration. His rise to power would demand harder decisions, but beneath them, his preference for balance persisted. When Suleiman ascended the throne in 1520, the transition was sudden but not chaotic. The Ottoman Empire was vast, stretching from Egypt to the Balkans, and yet under his leadership its early years felt remarkably steady. He was only 26, but his manner was calm, measured, and confident in a restrained way. His mornings often began in the same quiet sequence: a simple breakfast, soft conversations with advisors, and walks through the palace courtyards. He listened more than he spoke, allowing others to present their reports with clarity. When he did respond, his voice was known to be steady and evenly paced, never hurried. Suleiman saw the empire not as a machine of expansion, but as a structure that required careful maintenance. He enacted legal reforms that would later earn him the title Kanuni, the lawgiver. These reforms did not emerge in sudden bursts, but through long periods of consultation, reflection, and writing. He valued precision. His legal codes brought predictability to taxes, property rights, court procedures, and the responsibilities of military officers. Even when the empire expanded under his rule, the pace of decisions remained controlled. Campaigns were prepared over months, sometimes years. Strategies were evaluated, revised, set aside, and reconsidered. Nothing felt rushed. In the palace at Topkapi, Suleiman's daily life unfolded in repeated patterns that brought stability to his rule. Each morning, he walked through the courtyard called the Divan Square, where tall plane trees cast shifting shadows. Courtiers bowed gently as he passed, their robes rustling softly, creating a sound like wind moving through fabric. He often spent long hours in the imperial council chamber, listening to ministers discuss cases from across the empire. The room was dimly lit, its low sofas arranged along the walls. Decisions were rarely made quickly. Instead, Suleiman allowed debates to stretch, giving each voice a chance to speak. His approach to leadership was contemplative, rooted in the belief that clarity emerged from patience. When he needed solitude, he would retire to his private garden, a quiet space filled with roses, fountains, and the faint fragrance of mint. There, he wrote poetry under the pen name Muhibi, meaning the loving one. His verses were not fiery or grand, but gentle reflections on loyalty, longing, and the passing of time. Writing was his way of creating order within himself. Evenings in the palace were often hushed. Lamps cast warm, steady light. Servants moved with slow, practiced gestures. Musicians played soft melodies on the oud or ney flute. Suleiman listened, not for entertainment, but for contemplation. Music helped him think, just as poetry helped him feel. Among the many people in Suleiman's life, none influenced him more deeply than Hurrem Sultan, the woman known in the West as Roxolana. Their relationship was unusual for Ottoman rulers, who traditionally avoided strong romantic attachments to maintain political neutrality. But Hurrem brought something different: calm intelligence, emotional steadiness, and a gift for navigating palace life without haste or drama. Their bond grew slowly, steadily, through conversations, letters, and shared moments of quiet companionship. Suleiman trusted her deeply, and their connection brought a rare sense of warmth to the cool formality of the court. They raised children together, creating a household rhythm that softened the edges of palace life. While the world around them dealt in diplomacy, politics, and strategy, their private moments were marked by quiet reflection, reading poetry side by side, walking in gardens, or discussing the affairs of the empire in calm tones. This partnership grounded Suleiman. It brought balance to the responsibilities that often weighed heavily on him. In many ways, the calm intimacy of their life together gave shape to the gentler side of his rule. Though known as one of history's most powerful rulers, Suleiman's true greatness lay not in dramatic conquests, but in the slow, deliberate cultivation of order. His legal reforms outlasted him by centuries. His architectural patronage, including the beautiful Suleimani Mosque, was shaped by patient collaboration with the architect Mimar Sinan, and his letters, poems, and personal habits reveal a man who valued clarity and restraint above glory. His life reminds us that empires are not sustained by sudden bursts of power, but by quiet, enduring systems, shaped day after day by steady hands. As the life of Suleiman slowly fades from view, imagine the sound of a closing manuscript, the soft click of a wooden cabinet, the last glimmers of lamplight on polished tiles. The story settles, and beneath it, a new stillness rises. If you enjoyed this slower look at history, consider subscribing and sharing your thoughts below. Until next time, let the palace courtyards fade gently from your imagination. The warm lamplight, the polished tiles, the quiet footsteps of officials. All of it softens, dissolves, and slowly gives way to something cooler, deeper, and more mysterious. Now you drift beneath the surface of Istanbul. A city that has lived many lives. A place where each century has left a soft imprint layer upon layer hidden just below the streets filled with vendors, ferries, and hurried footsteps. Down here the world moves differently. Every sound is softened, every echo stretched, and the air holds a subtle, lingering chill. Take a slow breath. We are entering the realm of underground cisterns, forgotten tunnels, ancient mosaics, and quiet architectural secrets that have rested for hundreds, even thousands, of years. Istanbul, once Byzantium, then Constantinople, and finally the heart of the Ottoman world, did not begin anew each time its rulers changed. Instead, new structures were layered over old ones, creating a vertical history hidden beneath the surface. As you imagine walking through the city above, streets hum with life. But beneath them, a completely different world lies still and patient. Here, stone arches hold up the weight of centuries. Columns stand in measured rows, their bases resting in calm pools of water. And narrow passageways wind gently, like veins carrying the memory of long-forgotten eras. This is an architecture that doesn't announce itself. It remains quiet, waiting for curious hands and lanterns to uncover it. Picture yourself descending a set of smooth stone steps. Each step is worn in the middle, curved slightly from generations of feet. The air cools as you go down, carrying the faint scent of damp stone and distant water. You step into the basilica cistern, though it could be any one of several hundred beneath the old city. The space opens around you, vast and calm. Rows of tall columns rise like silent sentinels, their reflections shimmering in a thin layer of water. The ceiling arches overhead, supported by stone that has endured earthquakes, fires, sieges, and the slow drip of time. The Ottomans inherited these cisterns from the Byzantine Empire. They didn't always use them, but they maintained them in subtle, practical ways. Workers would descend with small oil lamps, checking the arches, clearing debris, making sure the underground city remained stable. Down here, the world feels detached from the noise above. Your footsteps create soft ripples. Droplets fall rhythmically from the ceiling. The air tastes faintly of minerals and age. It is peaceful, not frightening, just quietly ancient. Beyond the cisterns, a network of tunnels threads beneath the old districts. Some connected palaces to churches, others linked storage areas to military quarters. A few remain blocked, filled with earth or rubble from centuries of shifting ground. These tunnels are small reminders that cities are not only built upward but inward into the very earth. Their walls hold the marks of chisels, the fingerprints of laborers long gone, and the faint outline of arches that once offered strength and shelter. Ottoman builders sometimes reused these spaces, adapting them into storage rooms, cool chambers for food, or protected walkways. Yet many tunnels were left undisturbed. Their purpose forgotten, their entrances sealed, their stories drifting slowly into silence. Imagine walking through one now, the soft crunch of dust beneath your feet, the steady curve of the ceiling above you, the gentle echo that follows each movement. Nothing startles you here. The space is still, serene, and patient. Beneath several neighborhoods lie fragments of ancient floors mosaics that once decorated imperial halls and private villas. The Ottomans often built above these works without destroying them. Sometimes a new foundation covered them. Sometimes a wall was raised directly over a vibrant pattern of stones. Archaeologists, centuries later, uncover these mosaics with soft brushes and whispered instructions. Reds, blues, golds, and whites begin to reappear muted now, but still holding the memory of their original brightness. Some depict animals, others geometric patterns, others scenes from daily life in the distant past. These mosaics slept through the rise of the Ottoman Empire, through the reign of Suleiman, through the slow turning of seasons and ages. Hidden but not lost. In many cisterns and chambers, the temperature remains steady, neither cold nor warm, but something in between. Archaeologists often describe it as restful. Stone absorbs heat and releases it slowly, balancing itself across centuries. When the Ottomans expanded the city, they often discovered these underground spaces by accident. Workers digging foundations would encounter rows of columns emerging from the earth. Builders repairing aqueducts would hear hollow emptiness beneath their feet. Each discovery brought not excitement, but a practical curiosity. What is this space? Is it stable? Can it be used? Should it be left alone? Most often they chose the gentler path. They preserved what they found by simply building around it, allowing the underground world to continue its quiet existence. In one cistern, 2 stone Medusa heads sit at the base of columns, one sideways, one upside down. Their expressions are calm, their surfaces softened by water and time. The Ottomans did not remove them. They simply let them be, accepting that earlier civilizations had left their mark. There is a quiet symbolism here, reminder that history doesn't need to shout to be remembered. Sometimes survival itself is enough. The Medusas rest in their shallow pools, untroubled, steady. They have watched empires rise and fall, markets open and close, rulers come and go. And yet, the water around them barely stirs. As you slowly step back up toward the surface, you carry with you the sense of the underground city, the coolness, the echoes, the patient architecture, the quiet endurance of stone. The summit above feels warmer now, but the calm stillness of the underground remains with you, like a deep breath held gently in your chest. With each step upward, the hidden world fades. Softly, gradually, but its peace lingers. Imagine leaving the cool, dim world of underground Istanbul, the echoes of history fading as you rise back into the sunlight. The air warms, the atmosphere shifts, and you step into the heart of the Ottoman court. Topkapi Palace. This isn't a place of constant drama or loud declarations. It's a world of ritual, quiet authority, and an architecture designed to create a sense of profound calm. Here, everything moves to a gentle, measured rhythm. Topkapi isn't one massive building. It's a sprawling collection of serene courtyards, lush gardens, and elegant pavilions, all connected by shaded pathways. As you walk through the first courtyard, the bustling sounds of the city fall away, replaced by the soft-spoken world of palace life. The gardens are trimmed with meticulous precision. Tall cypress trees sway gently in the breeze. Fountains release thin, delicate streams of water, their sound falling in measured, soothing patterns. The entire palace was designed not to overwhelm you, but to guide you toward order and reflection. The layout itself encourages a slow, steady pace. Each courtyard you pass through becomes quieter, as if the palace is teaching you to shed your urgency at each gate. The air is filled with the scent of jasmine and rosewater. Servants pass by silently, their footsteps nearly soundless, their presence felt more than heard. The effect is incredibly calming, almost meditative. This was a place where power was understood as a steady, quiet force, not a loud proclamation. The daily life of the Ottoman elite was structured around ritual. These rituals weren't dramatic or theatrical. They were deliberate, predictable, and deeply calming in their repetition. At dawn, the palace would stir gently. Guards changed their posts with quiet discipline. Officials prepared scrolls, seals, and official documents, arranging them with exact precision. The Sultan's own day began with measured routines, prayer, reflection, and the gradual unfolding of meetings that would shape the destiny of an empire. Inside the imperial council chamber, discussions were formal and slow-paced. Ministers sat on low benches, their fine robes pooling at their feet. Their conversations followed long-established protocols. They spoke only when addressed, using calm, even voices, and allowed moments of silence to stretch comfortably between sentences. Even major decisions, like those concerning distant provinces or massive construction projects, moved through these deliberate rituals. Within these walls, urgency rarely had a place. Outside the chamber, scribes worked quietly, their quills scratching softly across paper as they copied documents with steady, fluid strokes. The rhythm of administration became a low, continuous hum that carried through the palace like a gentle heartbeat. Topkapi's gardens were essential to this atmosphere, offering the elite a sanctuary for contemplation. Imagine walking through one of them now. You feel the warmth of the sun on the stone pathways. You see the neatly trimmed hedges and the terraces overlooking the Bosphorus, where the water glimmers with soft, scattered light. You hear the distant calls of gulls drifting on the breeze. The winters here were mild and wet. The summers warm and fragrant. Fruit trees, fig, pomegranate, apricot grew in orderly rows. tended by gardeners who understood the palace's preference for gentle beauty over showy extravagance. Ottoman rulers and their courtiers would walk these paths slowly, sometimes alone, sometimes with trusted companions. The gardens offered a retreat from the formalities of court life, a space where thoughts could settle and the noise of politics could soften into the sound of rustling leaves and trickling fountains. It was a place to find clarity, a natural extension of the palace's serene philosophy. Now, let's talk about the harem. Many people imagine it as a place of scandal and excess, but the reality was far different. The harem was a world of quiet structure, education, and subtle influence. It wasn't a chaotic enclosure. It was a highly regulated institution with its own strict order, hierarchy, and rhythms. The women who lived here were trained in languages, music, embroidery, diplomacy, and the complex etiquette of the palace. Their days followed clear routines: lessons in the morning, guided activities in the afternoon, and contemplation or quiet conversation in the evenings. The corridors of the harem were soft-lit and meticulously maintained. Rich carpets muffled every footstep. Lanterns cast warm amber tones across the intricately tiled walls. Curtains swayed gently when doors opened, releasing faint scents of rosewater and incense. This environment was designed to create a sense of calm dignity. At the very top of the harem's hierarchy stood the Valid Sultan, the Sultan's mother, who was often the most influential woman in the entire empire. Her power was rarely loud or confrontational. Instead, she shaped decisions through quiet advice, subtle guidance, and the immense respect she commanded. Similarly, the Sultan's favored consorts, including famous figures like Hurrem Sultan, held their influence through personal connection, intellect, and emotional steadiness, not through public displays of power. Their power was very real, but it moved softly, almost invisibly, much like the palace itself. Deep within the palace were the private rooms where the Sultan and his family rested, studied, and reflected. These rooms were sanctuaries of peace. The walls were covered with intricate tiles, mostly in beautiful blues and whites, their patterns flowing like gentle waves. Low sofas lined with embroidered cushions invited rest. Windows opened onto private gardens, allowing sunlight to cast delicate patterns across the floors. In the evenings, oil lamps created a warm, flickering glow that reflected off polished brass trays and dark wooden cabinets. Silence was a companion here. Not a heavy, awkward silence, but a comfortable one, the kind that invites slow breathing and steady thoughts. This is where the Sultan might read poetry or listen to musicians play soft, introspective melodies on the oud. It's where his children would learn to write with reed pens, dipping them gently into small inkwells. Servants moved unobtrusively, their gestures respectful and measured. Life in these rooms unfolded at a pace entirely different from the world outside the palace walls. Even when the palace held grand celebrations for religious holidays, royal births, or important visitors, the atmosphere remained controlled and graceful. Music played softly in the background. Processions moved with deliberate, elegant steps. Gifts were presented in a careful, symbolic sequence. Even the feasts were conducted with an etiquette that ensured calm. Dishes were served one at a time, conversations were kept low, and all movements were orchestrated. The goal wasn't a dizzying spectacle, the goal was harmony. This was a world where power expressed itself through restraint, not through noise. For centuries, Topkapi Palace stood as the heart of the empire, a place where tradition anchored the state through wars, alliances, and shifting politics. And yet, inside its walls, life remained slow, almost insulated from the storms of history. Its gardens, its rituals, and its quiet rooms told a story not of constant, overwhelming grandeur, but of measured, peaceful continuity. Each day mirrored the one before it. Each moment seemed designed to maintain calm, order, and reflection. As you walk back through the palace, courtyard by courtyard, the noise of the modern world gradually returns, like a tide rising gently along the shore. But the profound serenity of Topkapi lingers with you, a memory of stillness that existed at the very center of an empire that was always in motion. It's a reminder that true power can be found not just in grand gestures, but in the quiet, steady rhythm of a well-ordered life. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the heart of the Ottoman Empire. See you in the final chapter. And now, as the last echoes of palace corridors fade gently from your imagination, allow the entire journey to settle into a soft, steady quiet. You have walked through the Ottoman world not as a distant observer, but as someone moving gently within its layers. You began in the marketplace in the rhythm of daily life, shaped by craft, community, and the calm predictability of shared routines. You rose into the world of Suleiman, where order and thoughtfulness guided an empire, not in bursts of fury, but in patient, deliberate steps. You descended beneath the city into the cool architecture that has waited centuries in silence, holding memories older than the empire itself. And you ended in Topkapi Palace, where garden paths, ceremonial gestures, and soft-lit rooms formed a world of quiet authority and inner balance. Across all of this, a single thread ran gently through the journey, a rhythm of lives lived slowly, carefully, and with attention to the small details that shape existence. As you rest now, imagine those rhythms continuing long after you have stepped away. A craftsman's tools being wrapped at dusk, a scribe dipping his pen into ink beneath a flickering lamp, a gardener smoothing the soil around a young fig tree, a drop of water falling in an underground cistern, a soft breeze moving through the courtyard of a palace. History does not end. It simply quiets itself, waiting for someone to listen. Allow your breath to match that quiet now. Slow, steady, even. Let the images soften. Let the centuries drift further into the background. And let your mind settle gently, calmly into the stillness that follows. If sleep finds you, let it arrive without effort. If you remain awake, let your thoughts wander peacefully, without direction or urgency. We've journeyed through time, not just as spectators, but as participants in a world of profound stillness and intention. Each scene, from the bustling marketplace to the serene palace gardens, was a testament to a life lived with awareness. The potter shaping clay, the calligrapher forming letters, the sultan contemplating a decision, all were part of a larger harmonious flow. Let that sense of harmony infuse your own being now. Feel the weight of your body, supported and secure. Notice the gentle rise and fall of your chest with each breath. The world outside this moment can wait. All that matters is this peaceful space you've created for yourself. As you settle deeper into this tranquility, allow your mind to drift back, not to specific events, but to the feeling of the journey. Remember the sensation of cool stone beneath your feet in the cistern, the warmth of the sun in a courtyard, the scent of spices and old wood in the air. These sensory memories are anchors to the present moment, reminding you that peace is not an abstract idea, but a tangible experience. The steady rhythm of history beats on, a quiet drum in the background of time. It's a rhythm of patience, of persistence, of lives unfolding one day at a time. There's no need to rush, no need to strive. Just as an empire was built stone by stone, your own peace can be cultivated breath by breath. Let go of any lingering thoughts or tensions. Imagine them as small boats drifting away on a calm, moonlit sea. They are not a part of you. They are merely passing by. Your true self resides in this quiet center, this core of stillness that we've uncovered together. The stories of the past have been told, their echoes now a soft hum in the background. They have taught us about order, beauty, and the power of quiet contemplation. Now it is your turn to embody that lesson. Feel the gentle pull of sleep, like a soft, warm blanket being drawn over you. The journey through the Ottoman world was a journey inward, a discovery of the palace of peace that exists within you. The gates are open. The gardens are quiet, the halls are still. You are home. The past is at rest, and now, so are you. Rest well.